Hey everybody, Dr. John Michael Salvato, your organic living and peak performance coach, and this is day 26 of our Mindshift Mastery program. And this is a 200-day Mindshift group, which that I said when we first began that you're going to get out of this what you put into this, and so we can look at some of the changes taking place in the group, and it's all good. Those who had agendas, who thought they were going to be able to come in here and steal their way, if you will, to success, are no longer connected with us, and they've kind of made themselves known. And the wonderful thing is, I didn't have to kick anybody out. They all realized that they got busted for stealing content, and they're all gone, and that's as it should be. Today I'm really excited because we're doing things a little bit differently this week. And the reason, first of all, we're focusing on our relationship to money. And I think that's really timely with some of what's going on for some of the folks in our group, like Jen starting a new exciting chapter in her life. And so I thought, hey, this is really, I mean, it just happened to be in the curriculum, but it's really great that at times when people are going through transitions, at times when maybe some of the people who had less than scrupulous agendas, are revealing themselves and moving on, that we really start to focus on the real important aspects of our lives, which is understanding the nature of money, understanding that some of the things we may have been told or some of the things we may have believed about money are not true, and then learning how to cultivate that consciousness for prosperity. And so I'm really excited about that. What I want you guys to do is first of all, picture in your mind what a successful or what a rich person looks like, and just get an image in your head of what that rich person, the typical rich person, and then I'd like you guys to share with me what that image looks like for you. Anybody?
I don't know. Go on,
Go
Jen.
ahead, Ida. Go ahead.
I didn't really think about it. I was just thinking there's two sides. There's rich with money, or there's rich with the good things in life. And
Okay, we're talking about somebody who's wealthy with money.
Okay, they have big houses, big cars, the best of clothes, jewelry, travel the world. That would be it.
What do they look like? What does that person do they have a happy countenance about them? Do they have a stressful countenance about them? Are they good people, bad people?
The way I see it is you can get all types of people as rich people. They can have good countenance, they can be happy, they can have bad countenance, and they can be sad. It depends on their outlook.
Oh, awesome. Jen, what's a rich person look like to you?
For me, it's kind of like the blue jeans millionaire kind of thing. Where they can actually sit in jeans and t-shirt by the pool or on the beach or even just in their backyard, just hanging out and doing their thing. There's a certain carriage about them, how kind of walk a little bit straighter, a little bit taller. There's definitely an aura about them, not necessarily power, but just an inner strength kind of thing. But for the most part, it's just a good energy about them. That's like, I got to know that person. I need to find out what they're doing.
Right on. I'm really excited at both of your answers because I've done this course now for about 14 years, 15 years, with lots of groups of people, and there was always an image, and I tried to find the image today of what the average person tells me that a wealthy person looks like, and the image, excuse me, it was always we did like a sketch, and it was like this sort of stressed out, mean-spirited person with piles of money around them, sitting at their desk and looking very greedy, kind of like a horrible version of the Monopoly Man. And neither one of you portrayed that kind of person. Ita brought the full realm, saying, hey, wealth is not, you could have good people, bad people. That's just, the money is just one of the factors in their lives. And Jen actually, imaged or visualized the kind of the nouveau riche, the folks who are actually making money, not from old money, but actually creating wealth and prosperity, today using technology and things like that. And I used to tell people, the difference between a rich person and a poor person is that poor people do all the work, and rich people know how to leverage the efforts of others, the time of others, and the resources of others. So they're actually working many times just as hard in the beginning, but they're working smarter. And so today, the first thing I want us to do is I want us to come to a place where we begin to look at what money is. And we first have to dispel some of the lies that we've been told. And for some people, this is going to be difficult because some people imagine that their holy books, that their religious traditions, that their spiritual paths were based on literal stories. So if it said that this person walked from Galilee to Palestine and had a cheeseburger, that it meant that on that day that person really did walk from Galilee. I guess they wouldn't have had a cheeseburger because that's against Hebrew dietary laws. I should know that being half Jewish, but so they didn't stop and have a cheeseburger. They had a burger with no cheese. But those stories are just that. They're stories. They're actually plagiarized tales that have been told about 26 other people before the present time that we know in the Bible. So when we hear stories and we hear things like money is the root of all evil, you need to come to terms right now, if you're going to proceed with the program, that that's bullshit. Plain and simple, that was a bullshit story told by somebody who probably didn't have any money. The second thing you need to understand is that we often misinterpret those sacred stories because we don't speak the language that they were written in. And since most people don't speak Aramaic, they misinterpret the tale about the Sermon on the Mount, where it said, "Blessed are the poor," and that's where a lot of misinterpreted and poorly translated texts will say, "Blessed are the poor," when it actually said the poor in spirit, and actually in Aramaic meant the meek in spirit, the humble. It didn't have anything to do with wealth. It didn't have anything to do with the amount of money that you had. And I can give you hours and hours of documentation and proof that those same sacred stories, which are personally irrelevant to me because they're not part of my tradition anymore, but which are relevant to many people. I can show you where abundance and prosperity is what was intended for you, even in those sacred myths. All one has to do really is look at the writings of Solomon and understand that abundance and wealth and prosperity were your birthright. So we have to make a decision that without spending hours and years unpacking some of the stories, some of the religious myths, some of the teachers that told us that blessed are the poor, when that was nonsense. I mean, certainly poor people are blessed just as rich people are, but there wasn't a statement that the poor are blessed and the rich are not. You have to understand that if you don't read the language that a story is written in, chances are pretty good somebody screwed up the interpretation, the translation down the line. It's that simple. And anybody who has an issue with that, we can talk about that privately, and I'll actually show you specifically the error with which some of those sacred texts were misinterpreted, and that's so we just need to get that out of the way. We also need to get out of the way any of the things that our parents told us, any of the things that our grandparents told us, who might have struggled and who might have had a particular attitude toward wealthy people, and might have had a characterization of the wealthy that is not true, that they're all greedy, that they're only out for themselves, that they all resemble Donald Trump. that they're that they're not loyal, that they screw people over. You have to let go of those things. And if you can't let go of those things, then let go of this course, because it really is that simple. We're now at a point at day 26 where if you want to hang on to your old baggage, and if that old baggage is more important to you than growth, get out. It's really that simple. Because if you really want to grow, you have to be willing to look at some of the chaotic data that you've been programmed with. And so I see so many good people who don't understand, excuse me, as Ida said in the beginning, that there are good rich people and bad rich people. There are good poor people and bad poor people. That's just one characteristic of these people's personalities, or who don't understand the potential that exists, as Jen said, for people to really begin to grow in their abundance, regardless of where they come from, and to be able to enjoy prosperity and still enjoy a comfortable life, a natural life, the blue jeans lifestyle, laptop lifestyle, if you will. So let's get all that out of the way, and then finally let's get out of the way any of the chaotic data that we personally hold. Maybe there was somebody who was wealthy who mistreated us when we were younger, or mistreated us a couple years ago, or mistreated us last week. And that person mistreated us, and so we don't want to become that person. Get clear in your head that the part of that person, as Ita alluded to, the part of that person that was bad and mean and hurt you had nothing to do with their money. They were just a jerk. So when we can understand that that money is not the root of all evil, then we need to come to a place where we let go of those things and maybe consider some new thoughts. And that's what I'm going to do today and for the next 4 days. Now remember, Wednesday there will not be a live session because I've got doctor's appointments that couldn't be moved, and so I'm going to be squeezing in 5 full days worth of material in these 4 days that we have together. But Wednesday will be an opportunity for you to really kind of work with some of the first 2 days material, because it's a lot. So the first thing I want you to understand is that everything around us is energy. So that's, and again, we could spend an hour looking at Einstein's theory of relativity. We can do an hour talking about quantum physics. We could do an hour talking about just the physics of the universe itself. But let's just agree that everything, that all matter, is made up of energy. And when we understand that all matter is energy, then everything around us is energy. One of the things that I had to come to terms with is I look at the American money system, and I recognize that it's a fiat currency. It's a currency that's not backed by gold. It's really worthless pieces of paper. And so for a couple years, up until about probably, I think it was about 6 or 7 months ago, that I had an aha moment and realized that it really didn't matter, that I was standing in the way of my reaching the next level financially, because I said, we live in a country that has a fiat currency system. I just have to get out of this country so that my wealth will be protected. And that was one of those ideas, those chaotic, false beliefs, because I started to think about it. And I woke up one night, and I woke up almost giddy, realizing that everything is energy, and therefore money is energy, and it's nothing more than energy. You and I are energy, nothing more than energy. In fact, we call money currency. And I want you to think about that for a minute. If we're all energy, then there is a frequency about everything that we do. When you're in a good mood, you have a high energetic frequency. When you're in a bad mood, you have a low energetic frequency. Now, I want you to picture, if you will, a river or a creek in your area. And I want you to picture throwing a stone in that creek. Now, before you throw the stone, you could see the current, you could see the direction the current's going. But when you throw a stone hard enough into that creek, for just a moment, you change the direction of that current. Money is the same way. Money is currency. It is a current, an energy It flows to you, through you, and all around you. And so it's not, money is not just the paper bills that you have in your hand. It's not just the amount of money that shows up on your bank statement or the money behind your credit card. Money is energy. And so we're going to talk this week about how to change, how to shift your energy, how to shift your mindset, and as a result, start manifesting more abundantly in your life, to kind of take off those fetters that stand in the way of that money flowing to you, through you, and all around you. So we're going to start today by looking at the idea that every single one of us has an energetic bank balance. Think about this. What was the last time that when you felt really good? Now, you may not use this expression, but picture yourself feeling really good. Just think of a time when you were just, on top of the world. And more than likely, at that time, you said that you felt like $1 million, or somebody said you look like $1 million. That's an opportunity for us to see an actual outpicturing of our energetic bank balance. And when you feel like $1 million, you're actually in the mode, the mindset that attracts good into your life. Chances are that at that particular time, that day just couldn't seem to get any better. Everything that happened really well, happened nice, happened positively. So understand that you have an energetic bank balance, and when the balance is low, then that current to that bank balance, that current in your life, your frequency, is low. And low frequency has a low ability to attract. It has a low ability to attract customers. It has a low ability to attract good relationships. It has a low ability to attract money. But when you raise that frequency, then you have the ability to attract money. Now, that's one of the reasons why we talk about cultivating relationships, because if you're cultivating relationships with others and you're genuinely caring and you're genuinely bringing value to the moment, and we're going to talk about value later this week, but when you're really caring about somebody, when the reason that you're doing what you do is with an open heart, your vibrational frequency is much higher. That person is going to begin to know, love, and trust you. And I didn't say know, like, and trust you like some people say. I said love, because there is a part of their person, a part of their being, that's just going to connect with you. It's just going to feel more in tune with who you are, because you care about them. I always say, if you want to make somebody really think you're a genius, ask questions about them. Get them to start talking, and talk very little yourself. I've had conversations with people where I just asked them a couple questions, and they just told me their story, and they told me their situation, and they told me what was going on in their lives. And then they told somebody that we mutually know, oh, I talked to John Michael, he's brilliant, blah, 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 blah. I didn't say anything. All I did was listen. That's how we raise our vibrational frequency, by getting back to a place where we're coming from a place of love, where we're coming from a place of compassion. So if you're in a weight loss business, the weight loss is, and I know this personally from working for the first part of my career with Herbalife. There were people who did very well, like we did with that business, and we did very well because our compassion, our hearts were for serving those people, for helping those people to get well, because we didn't want to see people die of cardiac disease. We didn't want to see people die of kidney failure or from diabetic syndrome. We wanted to see people have a vital, healthy life. There were other people who looked at people who needed to lose weight as being fat, and they said it with disdain in their hearts. And they would say, if you don't want to be fat anymore, then you got to change things in your life. And yeah, that's true. If you want to lose weight, you do need to make changes in your life. But their feeling toward that other person was a feeling of disgust, and that came across. And they may have had more contacts than we had. They may have had better sales skills. Some of them did certainly have better sales skills than we did, but they weren't able to succeed, and they weren't able to grow their business to $1 million business because they didn't care about the people, and they looked at those people with disdain. So if you're in a weight loss business, then you have to really care about the people that you're serving. If you're in a skincare business, you have to really want people to look better and feel better. If you're in a financial services business, you've got to want other people to be able to do better than you. And that's a big one. Some people just really can't get to a place where they want to see somebody succeed more than them. One of the things I find the most joy in is knowing that some of you that are taking this course are going to earn 3 or 4 or 5 times more money than I did in half the time. And you're going to do that because you have technology to work with. You have all the skills that are necessary. You've got the mentoring that's necessary to help you to leverage that time, those resources, and leverage the efforts of others. And I was very fortunate to have Jim Rohn for 18 years as my personal mentor, and Larry Thompson, and to have my friendship with Mark Hughes to really get me started. But in the middle of my career, I just had Jim Rohn because Larry and Mark were off doing their thing, and then Mark passed away, and and I had to kind of find my way in this new world of technology, and I had to create those inroads. Those inroads are already made for you. So I find it exciting that if I just share enough of what I know with you guys, you're going to add that to what you know. You're going to add that to what you learn from people like Gary Vee and Diane Hochman. And you guys are going to do as much or more than I did in my career, and you're going to do it in half the time. It's not going to take you, 5 years to create your first millionaire. You're going to create your first millionaire in 2. It's not going to take you 35 years to become a top respected person in your industry. You might do that in 2 or 3 years yourself. So understand that your energetic bank balance is something you can add to every single day, and that's what we're doing with this Mindshift program. And that's what you should be doing with the books that you read. That's what you should be doing with the ideas, the teachers that you listen to. I mean, there are some folks that I know he's not for everybody, but there are some folks that I mentor who will turn on and listen to a recording by Joel Osteen every day. And I don't care what anybody else thinks of him. The guy has a rich, energetic bank account. And as a result of that rich, energetic bank account, his financial situation reflects that. And the haters can hate on him all day long, but what he's teaching is truth. What he's teaching is love, and it comes from a place of I truly believe, having met the man, that it comes from a place of really wanting everybody that he touches with his words to be able to experience everything that he says. And so if that's what you connect with, other people like to listen to motivational speakers like Eric Thomas, or they like to listen to Louise Hay and hear positive affirmations, or they listen to Diane Hochman who teaches about using social media in an effective way. Whatever it is that you do it on a daily basis, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes, and raise the balance in your energetic bank balance. And bring yourself to the point where every single day you just feel like $1 million. No matter what's going on, your health might have challenges. Your family life might have challenges. Your country might have challenges. You might be in a situation like we're in the United States, but my energetic bank balance doesn't have anything to do with the craziness that's happening in the political forum. My energetic bank balance doesn't have anything to do with what's happening to the economy, and neither does yours. And so today, that first part of that shift, because tomorrow we're going to be digging in so deep to how we start adding to not just the energetic bank balance, but what little steps we can take to have money start to come in. And this is a part that I'm always excited about, because when I show people, now some of you guys are actually more advanced than some of the students that I work with, so it's going to happen even faster and bigger for you. When I show people these little techniques and they apply them, they like squeal with delight when they get back to me and say, "Oh my God, Joe, Michael, I can't believe that you told me to do that, and I thought it was kind of stupid, but I did it anyway because I knew you were going to ask me if I did it, and it worked. I got a sale, or I got a customer respond to me. I've started to coach, a few of the people that are in this group on, who've asked me some questions about some of this material ahead of time, because I wanted to have them be able to share some of their stories, and I'm hoping that as the week goes on, some of those folks will be on will be on these calls, and will be able to share with you what began to happen in their lives when they just changed that mindset. And so part of increasing your energetic bank balance means breaking the ties with those things that don't serve you anymore. And nobody can tell you what you should break your ties with. I'm going to suggest that if the things that you're relying on for inspiration, for motivation, for education are tearing you down, if they're negative things, if they're fear-based texts or teachings or people, that it's time to move on. I'm going to suggest to you that if you no longer have a passion for what you're doing, and this was a big one. I was dealing with somebody on a private level, private coaching last week, and he's been involved with this company now for 5 years. And when he started, he had a great passion for what he was doing, and he's a really good guy. He's not part of this mentoring group. I don't think anybody here probably knows him because of the industry that he's in. But he's one of these guys who, like you guys, are just salt of the earth kind of a person. He really does care about people, and if he can't help them, he finds somebody who can help them. But he's with this company, and he no longer has a passion for what he's doing. There's a little bit of infighting and backbiting that he sees going on in his company. There's he recognizes that their compensation plan was never really anything that got him excited, and he didn't really understand it, but now he understands it better and understands why it's so hard to make money. He also understands that he picked a niche product because somebody lied to him and said, if you want to get rich, get a product that's exclusive and it's a niche product and nobody's ever heard of before, and you're going to get rich. Well, that really only works out well for the company owners because in time their company will get big enough that they can sell off, and we've actually seen that happen with so many companies. They had some really interesting niche products, and then they end up merging with other companies, and now they have greater sales, but the people that are involved are not making greater money, and that happens because niche products, you're having to bust your butt out there, and his product is very unique. There isn't another company out there that has the kind of product that he has, and it's in the service industry, and so he has to bust his tail to make a sale, because he has to first explain what the product does, and then he has to create a need for it in the marketplace that the customer doesn't necessarily always recognize themselves as having. Then he has to convince them that the product will actually work, and then he has to convince them to pay 3 to 5 times more than anybody else's products that are similar, in order to play the game, because their products are overpriced. And so he reached this point, and he was really frustrated, and he said, John Michael, I can't stop what I'm doing because I've invested 5 years of my life in it, and I've got friends there, and I've got, and then what will people think if they see me jumping out? I've made fun of people who jump from company to company. And so we started to talk about his energetic bank balance and started to talk about how he felt right here and right now. And why was he afraid of change? What could somebody say? What was the worst thing they could say? Oh, he wasn't committed to the company? Oh, he didn't get the dream? Oh, he didn't have the big picture? So, there are lots of people who don't. We talk to people every single day in our companies who don't have the dream, don't see the big picture. But he wasn't supposed to be on this planet for somebody else's dream. He wasn't supposed to be in that company to build the company's dream or his upline's dream or his downline's dream. His journey is about his dream. His journey is about his calling. It's about what he is passionate about doing. And so he, we had this long conversation, and we talked about, money being currency, and what were the things that were short-circuiting that current in his life. And so he said, okay, I'm going to try this, but I really got to tell you, I can't walk away from this company. I've been my wife will kill me because I've done 3 other companies before and they've all failed. He's doing 3 little side deals on the side, trying to get some extra money to make this thing work. He said, I'm trying everything I possibly can. And I said that, the simple fact is, and you know the answer, and so I'm not even going to tell you what you need to do. And he said, okay. And it so happened that the fit for him was not, to come work with our company, because that's not his industry, that's not his field or his passion. But the fit for him was a company that he looked at and tried and screwed around with, back in the 80s. And I said, you have the skills, you have the personality, and now you've just gotten better trained as time has gone on. Why don't you go talk to them again? And he said, all right, I'm going to think about all this. I'm going to do the journaling work that you said. I'm going to make my lists. And I had certain exercises for him. And he said, and now I promise I'm going to add to my vibrational bank account. And so I said, okay, do that. Just if you just add to your energetic bank account, and let's talk in 3 days. And 3 days later, he called me up laughing on the phone. And he said, this is really ridiculous. I really thought that this exercise was stupid, but I did it because I trust you. And on the second day that I was doing this, I really did feel better because I talked myself into a good mood. I let go of the stress about the situation. And he said, I got a telephone call that day from somebody who was with that old company. And we had a really nice conversation. We talked about what had happened with their comp plan and what had happened, what new products they had, what was new. The management team was completely different. They're in different countries and they have different leaders in those countries. And he said, and for the first time, I found myself getting excited about business. I got excited about my future. And he messaged me today and said, I made the leap. I walked away from that company, and I'm doing, with this other financial services company, and I couldn't be happier. And it's in a completely different kind of industry. He went from being in a direct sales company to being with a company that has a completely different kind of structure. And he swore he would never do that again. He swore that wasn't for him. But when he got all of his baggage out of the way, and he started adding to his energetic bank account, he knew what resonated with him. He knew where he felt the happiest. He knew what those particular products meant was in alignment with his core values, and he didn't have that with the company that he was just with. And so all of a sudden now he's excited. He's got his passion for life back, and P.S. his wife supported him. Because she said, I haven't seen you this happy in 10 years. He wasn't that happy when he was with them before. She said, I believe for the first time you found what you really are meant to do. And so that's the key today. That's this first step toward recognizing our relationship with money, letting go of the old stories, the old tales, the things that don't serve us, and adding to our energetic bank balance, and recognizing that money is currency. There was a mind treatment that I'll share with you that Louise Hay taught me when one of the first times that we sat down and talked, some months after I started going to the hay rides to talk about my health. And she said that I recognize that this infinite intelligence in the universe is the source of all supply. And some call this source of all supply God. And money is God in action. And so whether you embrace the concept of a personal God or goddess or not, by whatever name you know that power, I want you to know that money is that power in action. So it's evidence of that higher power, that spirit, that energy, that light within you is evidenced by the money flowing to and through your life. And that's all money is. It doesn't add value to you. It's just a tool of exchange. And that's going to tie us into tomorrow's session when we talk about tools for exchange. But I want to open up unmute everybody now and have you guys, share with me see. You'll have to unmute yourselves because it's not letting me unmute you. Share with me your thoughts and what comes up for you. Where do you find yourself resisting some of what we shared? Where do you find yourself embracing some of what we shared?
Some of my favorite teachings on money I've actually just kind of stumbled upon through Paul Santisi. And one of the things he says is, money is a man-made thing, and man-made things have a low vibration. And a lot of people think you got to have, stay positive and, be, Om 94 days out of the year kind of thing, so that you can have money come into your life. Well, there are plenty of miserable buggers out there who have money. So I never saw it as one of those things. He just said, you just have to align yourself with that vibration to help it come into your life. But, you don't have to be, the Dalai Lama to have money coming into your life. It's just getting on that vibration, or at least, running parallel with it to be able to see the fruits of it. But one of my favorite people in the world, Gene Simmons, says it best. Money is not the root of all evil. Lack of money is the root of all evil. And I've been homeless twice, once as a kid and once with a kid. At that point in time, it was one of those things, it's like, I got $2.67 in my pocket. I got a lot of choices right now. It was one of those things. Got on my feet. I didn't see it as a bad thing. It's just, okay, what am I going to do? Money's had a very weird effect in my life. It's caused fights between my parents, between me and my ex, and I've been with my husband when he's had money. I've been with my husband when we didn't have money. It's just one of those things. It's a tool. When you don't have a tool, you make a tool. You figure it out. And that's just how that's always been for us.
Right on. I think one of the things that you talked about that's really important too to kind of address is that money itself, paper money, is very low vibrational because it's just substance is all it is. It's just something we created. And as a result of that, and I would suggest that the only difference is, rather than trying to bring your vibration down to the vibration of money, and that's where I think a lot of people stumble, because they're on a trajectory that is much higher than money could ever be. And so it feels like, and that's where we get these ideas that, money is the root of all evil, or that bad people, that people who have money become corrupt and become selfish, because those are the people who lowered their own vibration to the vibration of money itself. Just a dirty piece of paper. But when you raise your vibration to a vibration of openness and recognizing that what money represents is currency, is the source of all supply. It's God in action, or goddess in action, or life in action. Then you raise your vibration even higher than we are at a normal clip, we'll say. And as a result, all things come to you. See, when money starts flowing into your life, you're going to notice that money isn't the only thing flowing into your life, and money isn't going to matter as much anymore either, because all abundance is flowing into your life. And this, I'm getting ahead of myself by a couple of days, but I love what you said, Jen, and I just want to say that I think part of what's happening in your life is that your vibrational frequency is now expanding. It is now elevating, and as a result, all things are going to be attracted into your life, and you don't have to even worry about getting on the same wavelength as money. Money is strictly energetic. It will come to you. And it'll come to you in ways that are represented by real physical currency. Sometimes it'll come to you in ways that are represented by other things coming into your life. When we weren't looking for a car, the opportunity came for us to get this, gorgeous car at a fraction of what it would normally cost, and pay for it with cash that just so happened to have coincided with our finances boosting that particular month. Our finances boosted by almost exactly the amount that it cost for the car and the insurance and the tags and all of that stuff. And so we just said, wow, this wasn't about the money. It was about getting a new car, and we've been putting off getting a new car because it's a horrible investment. And I said, no, we don't need a new car. The one we have is still running, and it's not that much of an eyesore. And the money came, and the opportunity came. So there was that equivalent exchange, and we said, well, now we don't have to think about getting a new car 5 years or 10 years from now, because now we have a brand new car, and we got it at a fantastic price. So that energy was elevated. I happened to be talking about it just as I was preparing for today, to do this conversation this week. I thought, well, I should really think of some ways of tying this into what I do in my business, and that was where I was thinking I was going to go. And I got a telephone call on Friday night from a good friend of mine who said, hey, I need some help with some technology. I need some programming on my website. She's putting together, she's a personal health coach, and she's putting together this unique kind of a website that's going to have a blog, and it's going to have a social network, and it's going to have all these different components to it, and her appointment calendar and all that. And she said, I would love to have you do some consulting with me. And in an instant, there was an extra $400 in consulting fees that took place the next day, when we spent a couple hours talking about her business and where she's taking her business. So it was an opportunity for me to recognize that that going into doing this class this week, I can't plan on where it's going to go. I can't tell you. I mean, when I woke up this morning and discovered that somebody who everybody was telling me not to trust, and everybody was telling me, be careful, watch your food stamps around that one, I'm just not the kind of person that buys into that kind of gossip. And this morning I found out that, yeah, that person was there to kind of take advantage of me. And you know what? At the end of the day, if what somebody steals from me, intellectual property, ideas, otherwise, if what they steal from me makes their life richer, then they can consider that, and I'm sure they're watching this, they can consider that a gift. And just let yourself know that you didn't steal anything from me, that I give you everything that you took freely. And if you want to take every single thing I said and redo the videos, and as long as you're sharing this information with somebody else, then I want you to prosper. I want you to get paid for it. You worked hard to steal it from me, so you should be compensated for that. And there's no hard feelings. This is, if we are going to impact other people's lives, if we're going to help other people raise their vibrational frequency, then let's all let go of notions of stealing, because nothing I'm sharing with you belongs to me. This is information that was shared so generously with me from Jim Rohn and Larry Thompson and 100 other teachers along the way. So know that you never had to steal it. You could have just asked, and I would have let you have it. And with that, let's Ita, anything you want to add? I thought we lost you for a minute there.
Yeah, my battery died on my other device, so I'm now on a device, but I can't actually see anything. Can you see me?
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
I can't see anything on this device, but yes, I'm looking forward to this week regarding about the money, because with what you discussed today, I find the high frequency and the vibrational levels that you're talking about, I find that so intriguing to because I would never ever thought that money was part of high frequency and low frequency. I never would have thought of that. So I'm really interested in finding out more about that. I've always sort of been interested in the high frequency and the vibrational levels. Never read a book about it, so it is new to me. But I've heard about it before, and so yes, I'm really looking forward to that.
Right on.
Um,
Well, if I could make a recommendation, there is a book. I don't know that it's available online as a PDF or anything, but it might be available for Kindle. And it's by Penny Pierce, and the book is called Frequency. And it is a book that I promise you, and I recommend this not just to you, to everybody who's watching. The book is called Frequency, and it is one of those rare books that completely knocked my socks off the first time I read it, and is so it's astounding to me. There are things that she talks about in the book that happen as you're elevating yourself to various vibrational frequencies, ascending toward a higher state of consciousness. And she talks about what happens when your vibrational frequency is ascending or elevating faster than your body can catch up with. And there's some certain times, certain points where certain accidents might happen. So you have to be careful of certain situations. And without going into detail, it made so much sense to me that it was as though she took a video camera and followed me around for the last 7 years, because she described through these various levels of graduating vibrational frequency some of the things that happened to me. And they weren't like kind of general things. She wasn't like, you're going to meet a man with dark hair, or you're going to meet a woman with 2 legs. It was like, if you're, at this particular point, you could have, a freak accident that involves, shattering limbs, because you're at a point right now where your frequency is out of balance with what's going on in your body. We're going to talk about that later in the week, about wealth equals health and health equals wealth. And there was a point where that imbalance was taking place in my life. And sure enough, at that point, and vibrationally, yes, my mind was in a completely different place. I was ready to expand. I was ready to move on. It was at the point when I was walking away from my involvement with institutional religion. I was retiring as an archbishop, and I was in really, really good space energetically. But I wasn't giving my body a chance to catch up, and I wasn't doing the things I needed to do to be really mindful of that. So I kind of had my head in the clouds, and it was November 29th in 2007, and I just went shopping for a couple who both have AIDS, and they weren't able to buy presents for one another for Christmas. So I said, I'm going to go shopping for both of them, and I'm going to secretly meet with both of them and give both of them gifts for one another. And I was all excited about that. And I was in Atlanta, and I was walking at a pretty fast clip, and my head was, my mind was so far elevated out of my body. I just was, I felt like $1,000,000, but my mind was in another place. And I can't tell you exactly what happened. There was a really nice African-American lady standing behind me, walking behind me, who saw what happened. Apparently the Parkinson's, symptoms got worse than they'd ever been. My body got totally stiff, and I flew headlong into a brick wall, and I shattered my arm from the AC down to the base of the humerus into hundreds of pieces. Took 2 years of reconstructive surgeries to get it to where those pieces were back in one place. 17 months of not even having a cast because they couldn't even set it. And I read this book while I was recovering, and I said, son of a, you know what? I was like, holy shit. She just said that if you let yourself get to this place where you're just staying out, outside of your body, that you're setting yourself up for accidents, and catastrophic accidents that will shatter bones. And I just shattered my bones. And then I started to look back at my journals at different things that were happening. It's just an amazing book. So it's Frequency by Penny Pierce. I highly recommend it. There's probably on the Barefoot Millionaire Mastermind.com blog, there's probably a whole review written about it that makes more sense than what I just rambled on about. Anyway, we almost took an hour today. I apologize to you guys. I thank you for sticking around. As you can tell, this is this is a topic that I'm just really excited about because I always know what it does for the people who watch it. There's almost no way you could let these ideas wash over you and not have some positive things happen. So start to notice what's happening around you today, because I talked about these very same things with Amanda. In a conversation, a casual conversation. I didn't tell her it was what was coming up, just because I wanted to see what happened. And I got a message from her over the weekend, and she said, "Oh my God, my phone is blowing up, my Facebook is blowing up. People all of a sudden are starting to talk to me about my business." And she said, "It's amazing when you make these shifts and let go of those things that no longer serve you, that you're absolutely right. Stuff starts to happen." And I know that's going to happen for each one of you guys, and you certainly deserve it. And thank you both, Ita and Jen, for being on today. You definitely deserve it. And I'm excited because this was the first time in 15 years I've done this class. That now, granted, there was only 2 people here, but I've done this class one-on-one with people, and their idea of what rich looks like was always negative. It was always hostile, and it was always the reason why they weren't rich. And so you guys are already ahead of the curve because your idea of what wealth is was already wholesome and healthy and energetically advanced. So for everybody else, I encourage you to stick with us. Make sure that you jump on later this week. Don't waste any time worrying about who's here and who's not here, who's in the program, who's not in the program. I will do this program if there's one person left at the end of 200 days, because that will mean to me that that one person was the person that I was meant to teach and meant to share this with. So I love and appreciate each and every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We will be covering the law of equivalent exchange and creating value, and how that affects our flow of money in our lives. And then we'll have Wednesday off, so you guys will have some time to think about this. Stay in the moment, be grateful for everything you've got, and always remember the best is yet to come. Namaste, my friends.
Say bye-bye.